How you doing? Top Ferguson Bay here, Off Duty Grind. And in this episode of Off Duty Grind, we have Ana McKenna. Anna is a veteran of the U.S. Army and has owned several brick and mortar businesses. And as a mother, a partner, and a soldier, she helps military women and families clear roadblocks to a happier, healthier, and more secure lifestyle. So, Anna?
I'm well. Thanks for having me.
All right. So I got an icebreaker for you.
Okay.
What would the title of your autobiography be?
Okay. So the title of my autobiography, which would probably be long because I'm old, would be called, I think, Drive On, just because it's just been such a journey over the last, 22 years of service and how I've kind of gotten here. So I think that's what it would be called.
Drive On.
With Ana McKenna.
Sounds good. So tell us a little bit about yourself and your time in the military.
Yeah, so I am actually still serving. I was commissioned in 1999, which feels like so crazy to say the 90s, right? And I went on to active duty, started my career at Fort Bragg, and then shortly before 9/11, I got out and started service in the New Hampshire National Guard. And the last, I think 9 years now, I've been serving as part of the Army Reserves. And I've spent time on active duty. I've spent time as a full-timer and a part-timer in the Guard and in the Reserves. And I'm still serving. I am a battalion commander in Brockton, Massachusetts, and wrapping up that assignment shortly and looking to see what is next.
It's funny you point out your time because I've been in 18 years now and looking at some of the sailors, they're like 18 years old coming in. So I man, I remember that time when I came in. I was like, man, but time
crazy. Yeah, we just took the new Army Combat Fitness test and I looked around and I was taking it with 20-year-olds and I'm like, oh my gosh. So I've been around a long time.
I saw your post.
Time for retirement.
Yeah, time to retire. I'm like, oh no. Yeah, I got 3 more years and I'm out of here.
Yeah, exciting to think about.
So what motivated you to join the military?
So it's kind of interesting how I came into the military. I am the daughter of immigrants, actually. So I'm first-born American.
Okay.
And it was really funny because in high school, the recruiters would call me and I would it would be a hard pass. They'd call me and they'd be like, hey, let me talk to you about the Army. And that was the mid-90s. All the services called me and I was like, no, thanks. I did dance and I was a cheerleader and I was going to college and I had all these big plans for myself. And I showed up at my college in Western New York and I had a roommate who was from Brooklyn. And so we're getting to know each other and she's like, hey, I want you to take this class with me. As freshmen, we didn't know anybody. She's like, it's ROTC. You can camp and rappel and do all this fun stuff. And I was kind of like, no, thanks, girl. I'm from New Hampshire and we camp all the time. So I'm good with that. But she convinced me to take it. And I, from there on, received a scholarship. And so I was part of the ROTC program. And I was really interested in having a job right after college. And so I took a commission and just started my career right the day after graduation.
Oh, sweet. Yeah. That was going in my next question. How'd you earn your commission? So you did, some people call it Roxy.
Yep. I was Roxy.
Roxy. Oh, yeah. Yeah. It's funny. You was talking about you didn't want to join because I remember looking in the paper for a job when I was in high school and had air traffic control. And I picked up the phone, I called it, and it was the Navy. I was like, what? So I was like, no, thank you.
No, thanks. I'm all set.
I'm good. But I'm in the Navy now, so.
It's been a really good, I had a small break in service after my first tour. And I shouldn't say short. It was about 3 years and some change break in service. But overall, it has been, a great experience. And I've learned a lot and got to meet a lot of people that I don't think I otherwise would have met.
Yeah, I think that's the best part of the military. So people,
Best.
yeah, yeah. So, like, along with you being in the military, you have what, three to four businesses? Or
Yeah, I'm kind of crazy. Yeah.
hey,
So I have a dance studio that is
mm,
15 years old. We're heading into our 15th year, and kind of interesting how I started doing that.
mhm,
And then I also I dibble dabble in some real estate, and part
mhm.
of my last business transaction or real estate transaction included an Ace Hardware. So I found myself in the hardware store business, kind
Oh,
of reluctantly, but I'm learning a lot. And then I also have my online business, which I am just getting off the ground and getting started. And it's just to help other female veterans, servicewomen and veterans, kind of get started in the entrepreneurial space.
oh, that's great, great. So, how'd you get into the Ace hardware?
Yeah, so that's kind of a funny story. So I had my studio for, like I said, about 13 years at the time. I've owned the Ace for a couple of years, and I
Okay.
was in a coffee shop, and I was looking out the front door of the coffee shop. This was pre-COVID when you could actually sit in coffee
Go
shops.
shop.
And I was looking at this building in the neighborhood that I grew up in, and I was just like, that is like such an interesting building. And it just looks like a little dated. And the
Mhm.
hardware store, people were going in and out of the hardware store. And I was having like one of those like down home moments where you're just like, I just love being here. And, I live in a great place. And so I was thinking to myself, like, what is going on with that hardware store? It's been around for like 100 years, and the apartments upstairs look totally empty. So it's a
Oh, okay.
mixed use building. So
Okay.
I Googled it, and it was for sale. And I just had this feeling like I really feel that I want the real estate in town because, as you know, real estate is a hot business to get into.
Yep.
And the caveat through the family that was selling it was that it had to remain a hardware store as part of the business deal. And
Mm.
so I looked into going into the hardware store business. So I kind of fell into it. And I like being in hardware. Women in hardware is kind of like few and far between. But I've learned a lot about retail and about serving the community. And so it's been an interesting journey so far, and not without its challenges, but it's been great. And I really encourage other veterans, everybody, men, women who might be interested in business ownership, to take a look at Ace Hardware.
Okay. Check it out.
Yeah.
And you said also you have a dance studio that you had for 15 years. Was
Yeah.
that your first business?
Yeah. So the idea for my business was born about now 17 years ago. I was sitting on the hood of a truck in Iraq. And before I had deployed, I had been teaching all over Boston and New York, teaching dance. Because I think I told you before, I had grown up dancing, and that was originally my plan. So when I left active duty, I was just kind of like teaching dance and waitressing and taking my own dance classes. And then I deployed. And so I was sitting on the hood of a truck outside of Fallujah one day, and I just noticed these kids that were outside the gate, and I just felt for them. And I just thought to myself, like, these kids are never going to be able to like come to a dance class like I did, or, have a regular experience like what we have here in the States. And so I just thought to myself, like, when I get home, I'm going to open a studio because I know how to teach dance, and I want to be around kids. And I also want to be able to offer opportunities for kids who might not otherwise get a chance to participate in the arts, and provide kind of a space that was inclusive and diverse, and an area for them to be able to explore it. So I do scholarship a lot of kids.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been a true labor of love over the years, because we do a lot of like nighttime classes and weekends, and it takes up a lot
Oh
of time.
yeah.
But it's been awesome, and we've been able to really give the opportunity to learn the art of dance to a lot of kids in the community.
Okay. What styles of dance is it?
So we do everything from ballet, tap, jazz, hip hop, acro, musical theater, and Latin dance. So a little bit of everything.
Getting some of that Latin class.
That's right.
So it's probably an odd question because I can't dance. So what's one of the most common reasons that an able-bodied person can't dance or believe they can't dance?
Oh, that is a really good question. I think everybody can dance. I think people have a hard time catching rhythm. And I think if you don't cultivate that from early on, which is something that we really try to work with our little kids, is musicality and tempo and understanding how things kind of get put together in music and dance. I do believe that anybody can learn at least the basics. It might not be their jam, and that's fine. But you can go to a wedding and have a good time. Like, I can teach you to go to a wedding and have a good time and feel confident on the dance floor. So I think it just takes patience and like a really open attitude. And honestly, when people are on the dance floor doing like social dance or dancing at the club or weddings or whatever, nobody's looking at anybody else. I promise. Everybody's too concerned about themselves.
Yeah. I think that's probably what it's like, my confidence or whatever.
Yeah, you got to get confident.
Yeah. I got rhythm because I play drums. I've played drums for like 20 years.
Yeah, and you can. You totally can.
Yeah. I just got to not think about it, I guess.
I wish that more adults, I think we do adult classes and we do work with a lot of adults, but I think adults, by the time you get to be an adult, you're so self-conscious about like what you can't do, where kids will walk into a classroom and be like, I can do it all.
Yeah, I can do.
And so I think it's really something that we try to teach our kids early on. And then we, at our space, McKenna Dance Center, we work really hard to make sure that adults feel good when they leave classes. So it's all about feeling good.
All right. Gotta do it. I'm gonna do it when
you should.
I need to. So is there a business that you have that you're most passionate about?
So I really am passionate about my dance studio only because it's really about kids. I think that's probably like my true love. The real estate and the hardware store, while I do like it and while I do learn a lot, retail is retail. And if you've ever worked in retail, it's very challenging and oftentimes thankless. But my new business that I have now that I'm starting, I am very passionate about because I want to help other women like myself to succeed, not only in business, but in all areas of their life. And this comes through, I relate to a lot of challenges that military women have had in or out of service. And so I want to be able to help military service women and veterans get on the right track, whether it's, they want to open their own business or they want to work on health and fitness, or they just want to get their finances right. My hope is to provide a space for them to be able to do that, and for a community that they feel comfortable coming to and just asking tough questions.
Okay. So like, what's the like most common issue you see or you feel people face separating from the military?
So I think money and finances is probably on everybody's plate. And I think that goes whether you're still serving or not. I find that a lot of people, when they transition out of the service, don't expect, they might know in their head that they're not going to get paid on the 1st and 15th and be paid BAH and all the kind of extras that go along with it and the free healthcare. I don't think that the military in general does a very good job really preparing transitioning service members to not only do well financially, but to find something that gives them purpose. And I think there are a lot of people who are serving who have worked in a motor pool for 10 years and that's not really what they truly want to do, but it's almost like they're too afraid to do anything else. And so part of what we'll be offering in our courses and communities is really helping people figure out like what is it that you actually want to do. You've been doing what the military's been wanting you to do for however many years. Yeah. So now is the time for you to figure out what it is that you want to do. How do you get like a sense of purpose and pride and like feel like you wake up every day doing something that makes you happy? And then how do you make a good living at it? Because I think people come out of the military like, well, I guess I'll go work at Boeing. And it's like, dude, you don't have to work at Boeing. Right. Like, what do you want to do? You know? And so my courses in the community that I'm starting to build really goes beyond like, it's more than just a transition assistance program. It's like really getting deep into figuring out like, what do people actually want to do and how can you make it happen? Because I've been at all aspects. I've had not a dollar in my pocket. And then very quickly, I've been able to move to a place where I've become, you know, a pretty good entrepreneur. And I want to help other people do that because there's a lot of freedom in working for yourself.
Yeah. I like how you're saying, asking people what do they want to do, because I tell sailors all the time that like the Navy, like I'm going to get what I need out of you. So, but it's a relationship. So you need to get what you get out of the military as well, like TA, everything. So
absolutely,
there's benefits there. So
yeah, I feel like a lot of people don't know or take advantage of everything. Or I know I didn't when I left active duty. You know, when I left Fort Bragg, I didn't really have a plan, and there wasn't really anybody that I could go to just kind of work through it. And so I agree. I think you get out what you need and do your service and do it honorably, of course, but start spending some time before you get out thinking about like, what would you actually like to do?
Yeah, what you want to do. Yeah. So that's why hopefully I can inspire people and you can inspire people like with this show and all that. That's the main reason I want to.
Yes, I love that you're doing this. I've been following your content for a while and I think it's awesome. And I think it just starts people thinking about like true freedom and what they want.
Yeah, do what you gotta do it. Yep. You got one life.
One life, you gotta live it.
So what's the Woman Warrior Journal? I've seen it.
So the Woman Warrior Journal is actually my test run. So I'm interested in a lot of things, as you can probably tell. And I wanted to see what it would be like to publish on Amazon. And I wanted to just create a simple line journal that was attractive, that people could jot down some of these hard questions that we talk about. And so there's not a whole lot to the Woman Warrior Journal, but it was more of a test run, and it's beautiful quality and it's a great gift to give to someone. And we are going to continue to create more in-depth journals with prompts that really, you know, ask people to think about what it is that they want in their mindset and in their money and with their career or any sort of entrepreneurial adventures they're interested in going on, and really asking questions that help people get to a plan, really. So the Woman Warrior Journal was an interesting experiment for me to see how exactly do you publish on Amazon. And I encourage people to look into that because it's a great way to just start getting your feet wet and start making money.
Yeah. My wife, she recently came to me. She wanted to do like children's coloring books and stuff like that on Amazon.
Totally. People are making a killing doing that.
Yep.
It's amazing.
Got to get into it.
Got to.
So being an entrepreneur, like even with the dance class, like how'd you get your first customer? And do you remember who they were, like friends or family, anything like that?
Yeah, so I started very small. I started with friends and family and just started talking about what I was planning on doing. So my studio that I started 15 years ago was in a small community center. It was one room, and I just began. And one thing that I always kind of coach people who are interested in starting their own businesses is like you're not going to make $1 million in your first year. So like, let's just get to the chase. Let's just cut to it. Start small, come up with a plan. And before you know it, you will start getting word of mouth and, a lot of referrals to whatever it is that you're doing. If you're continuously putting out a good product or service, and if you really care about people. So if you're selling t-shirts or if you're teaching dance class, if you really care about what you're doing and you're really in the space to want to help people, your business is going to grow, period. And so that's what I always tell people. Reach out to your friends and family. People are like, ew, I don't want to ask my friends and family to buy something from me. Yeah. And it's like, you just tell them that you have it. And if they want it, cool. And if they don't, cool. Right. But they may know someone that wants what you have.
Exactly.
And so I think if you set reasonable expectations and just start from a good place in your heart in terms of what it is that you want to provide, your business is going to start, coming together for you, and the universe conspires to give you everything that you want if it comes from a good place.
Okay. You have both brick and mortar and an online business, right? So what's your opinion on brick and mortar businesses versus online? Because a lot of times nowadays we hear, oh, brick and mortar is dead. Like, I'll be arguing with people too, like brick and mortar, if someone needs something right now, they're going to go brick and mortar. They're not going to order it from Amazon. But like, what's your opinion on brick and mortar versus online business?
So I think brick and mortar businesses are important, but you have to be able to pick the right one. And you have to be able to compete. You have to be prepared to compete. So at our Ace Hardware in the retail space, we compete with Amazon every day. Literally, if someone wants a screwdriver, they're going to order it on Amazon or they're going to walk into our store. Right. And I think it is important, if you do have a brick and mortar, that you are always in stock, that you're always looking past what today or tomorrow is, and being where you can grow your business and building that community. So we know in our town, which is part of why I was having that down home moment where I was like, I love our little town. Those people, they're your regulars. They want to support you. And the community that you build around that is key, because that is what is going to keep brick and mortar alive. And the same thing goes for, our dance studio. Our dance studio is thriving. We were able to make it through COVID, even with online Zoom classes, which are not fun for little kids, by the way. And because of the strong community and the loyalty and commitment that we have to our clients and customers, they want to give that back. So for an online business, I'm still learning about online business. I am like taking it all in, how do we do ads? How do we build our brand? At the end of the day, everybody is a brand. All right. So what do you want people to see about you? So if I have my business online, like, I want people to know, like, and trust me. And the same thing goes for if they walk into my Ace Hardware store, where we're all wearing our little Ace shirts.
Right. So how do you continue to spread the word about your businesses?
So I don't do a lot of like direct mail or hard for my studio. We do a lot online. We do a lot of Facebook ads, which I encourage people to really get smart on, and something that I'm constantly trying to get smarter on, because you don't want to be wasting your money.
Right.
And a lot of it is word of mouth, and we ask people to tag and share. And I try to do that with the people that I know in the online space as well. I think I've done it with you too. Like I tag you, I add you to the story. I want to start to create communities with people who are in the like circle. And so I want you to say, oh my gosh, I know this girl who helps, other women like you create the job that they want. And I want to be like, I know this guy who does an awesome podcast tailored toward entrepreneurs. So it's really a give and take. And I think it's all about community again.
Yeah. Network.
Totally.
Yeah. Yeah. Was it saying like your network is your net worth? So you're
absolutely.
Yep. So because I try to focus on like military business owners and those who aspire to be military business owners, like I have to ask about your Boots to Business course. Like, is that
Yeah. So I am so excited about Boots to Business. So I'm in the process of shaping it. But what we really want to do is create the path and provide the resources. And so it really starts with figuring out and leading a group of entrepreneurs down the path of figuring out like, what is it that you want to do? Much like I did several times with several of my businesses. And then how do you want that to take shape? And then what can help me do that? So it's like really an experience. We'll have a self-paced course, and then we'll have one that will include coaching from me and other subject matter experts who have done it. And we're going to talk through a lot of things in terms of everything from like you're getting out, you want to start your own business, where do you begin, right up through challenges. If people are having marketing challenges or financial troubles, or they're wanting to grow or scale their businesses, these are all things that we want to help with. And so it won't be just me. It will be a lot of subject matter experts that I've come across along the way who are going to give really good information. And I'm really excited about the course. And I encourage people to sign up for it on my website because we'll let you know as soon as it goes live.
Okay. And what's your website? I can tell you.
So my website is www.anamckenna.com.
All right. So y'all go ahead and check that out.
Yeah. All right. Please do.
So what has been some of your biggest challenges?
So I think, let's see. I think for me, when you live a life of service, you want to do a lot of things for free.
Me and you in the same boat.
And so one of the biggest mind shifts that I've had over the last couple of years is charging, what you're worth for both a product and for a service. So I do it at my studio, I do it in my retail operations, and I do it for my business. Yeah. When people pay for things and when they feel invested in something, they use it, complete it, appreciate it. It is very important. And that has been a huge mindset struggle for me that only in the last few years I've really kind of come to terms with. It's not enough to just keep the lights on. It's important to be able to be profitable. And it's constantly a journey for me. Like even my accountant is like you're writing big checks to charities. She's like, and you've written a lot of them lately. You don't have to write so much, which to me, I love to give, but like you need to make sure that your money's right. And so in every business, I think monetizing a business and figuring out how to do that is hard to do. And then once you kind of get on the right track, it becomes easier and easier to get paid what you are worth.
Yeah, I get you. Yeah. I don't want to step on your story, but I'm in the exact same boat. Like over the last just couple of weeks, like I've come to that realization because like you said, like you want to help people. Like, so I know how to do like websites and all that stuff. So for friends and logos and stuff like that. So they say they need it. I just do it,
right.
And that, like, you don't get anything back. Yeah. So yeah, I'm just like learning now, like So recently I just started charging people, but before that it was just
For you.
a lot of work and a lot of time. But I had to come to that realization, like knowing your worth and knowing, like you said, knowing your worth. So.
And people who pay for things, like for example, I've done a couple courses, and it has been an investment for me. I've been in coaching groups and masterminds, and for me, it's like, well, damn, I really don't want to spend all this money on this. But if I'm spending it, you best believe I'm going to go through it, and I'm going to do my part and glean everything I can that I wouldn't have probably done if it had been for free.
Yeah.
I've signed up for a lot of stuff for free, never done it. But you best believe that if I'm making an investment in something, then I'm going to make sure it's how I want it. I'm getting what I need out of it. And so I encourage business owners to do that all the time. So good for you. Keep charging.
All right. Yep. Yeah, get on. Yep. So have you ever done something in business and said, I'll never do that again afterwards?
Yes. Yeah, that's a tough one. I think I've been generally pretty happy with the path that all my businesses have gone down. I think one of the things that when it comes to my studio, because you're dealing with kids and families, right? You're not just like selling screwdrivers like you are in the hardware store. You get attached to families and you allow things to happen that you shouldn't, like how people treat you or how you get your respect. And so there have been some times where I've had to move forward and dismiss families from my studio because they just aren't a good fit for the vibe and culture that I'm creating.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like, when you see the red flags, there have been times when I've been like, I should have called this way earlier.
Okay. Yeah, I had to talk to one of my friends about that because she wanted to come up with something, but she didn't want to offend people and stuff like that. But I told her, like, hey, like, you pick your tribe, you pick your community, you pick who you want to serve and who you want to be around you. Right. And, if you sometimes it's easier or hard to let people go, but it makes life easier if they're not around.
Yeah. And I think the minute that I've dismissed, a couple families like that, everything has improved.
Easier. Yeah. Okay.
The whole vibe of your space, you get to pick who it is. I think you're absolutely right. You pick who you want to be around and how you want your community to look.
Right. Okay. Yeah. That's a tough lesson there.
Yeah, it is.
So what's it like running a business while in the military?
Well, I'm a reservist. So, and even as a reservist, it's very challenging because I have calls at night and I have my annual training. And then if I deploy, a couple of years ago, maybe more than a couple of years ago now, was my last deployment, and I left my studio in the hands of my staff, and it was fine. But, it is hard to serve and, get your side hustle on. However, it can be done and it can be lucrative and profitable. But you need to have a clear path. And I also think you need to have clear boundaries. You can't be, walking into work during the day and like doing all your biz stuff, but you have to be disciplined about when you do it and using time to get better. Like, listen to podcasts like I do every morning on my drive. Listen to podcasts. If I have a note that I know that I can't work on right away, I jot things down and then ideas come to be shaped in the time that I've set apart aside from when I'm doing my work.
Okay, that's cool. That's good advice. Good advice. So what are your goals? Where do you see yourself in the next 5 to 10 years?
Well, let's see. My family would probably like to see more of me, so I think we'll start there. I would really. So my son. Let's see. My son is 9. So, in 10 years, he'll probably be in college or on his own, doing his own thing. So I would like to be spending a few months here, the warm months in New Hampshire, and then the rest of especially the cold months, somewhere warm, working remotely, and still, helping military women like me. I hope that my business grows, my online business grows, because I do think it has the potential to help a lot of people. And I want to be able to go wherever and help people, whether it's speaking or, small groups or doing retreats with people. There's a lot of things that I want to do that kind of excite me in terms of work that is more than just drawing a paycheck.
Oh, okay. I get it. Okay. So what resources are you reading or watching to help grow your business? I heard you say you listen to a lot of podcasts.
Oh my gosh. Yes. I listen to a lot of podcasts on a range of things. I listen to podcasts to get inspired and listen to other people like me and other service members. I listen to a lot of business podcasts because podcasting is so cool. Like it's always there, so you're not going to miss it. You can always go back, and you are spending time and building a relationship with someone that you learn to trust, right? So I have read a couple books. I just read The Common Path to Uncommon Success, which is from John Lee Dumas. He is also a former military guy. He runs the podcast Entrepreneurs on Fire. He's great. Jonathan Milligan has a book called Your Message Matters, and Donald Miller has a book called Story Brand, which is all about how you market your business. So I'm always trying to read. I try to read 10 pages a day because I try to stay on track, keep my mind fresh, and less scrolling, more reading is something I'm working on for myself. And those resources are really good. But I think podcasts are the winners right now because no matter what, if I hear something cool or if I hear a good resource, I just write it into the notes section of my phone and I can go check it out.
Yeah. Okay.
Podcast is just getting started, so I'm very excited for you.
Oh, I appreciate it. It's fun too. I get to meet a lot of great people.
Yeah, it is fun.
Yeah. What would you like to say to people trying to start their own business?
So I would say, don't be scared. I think a lot of times people who, particularly if they've served for a long time, they're used to the safety of service. And that paycheck that comes on the 1st and 15th.
Right.
Don't be scared. Think about what you really want to do and just start. Don't be a perfectionist. Like I also have a podcast. It's called Your Next Mission. And I try to put out a lot of free content for military women. And it was like, it's still kind of bad, but I've been putting it out there and we all got to start somewhere. So like, don't get caught up in perfectionism and just try to just start. And your business may change as you decide what you want to do. And start before you're out if you're still serving, because you can spend a couple hours a night where you would be watching TV, starting to get your business lined up. And by the time that you're ready to transition out, you can have a good thing going.
Yeah, totally agree. Yeah, just get started. Because again, you just make tweaks along the way. And plus you don't really know what you really need until you actually start. You can have all these ideas of what you think you need, but
absolutely.
Yeah.
and then you think that you're going in one direction and then you're like, nope, that is not at all. And it's funny when I think about my first podcast episodes, which are only a couple months old, I'm like, this is not edited or produced all fancy. But to me, it's I just wanted to get the information out there. Yeah. So I had to kind of get over myself in that department and try not to be a perfectionist.
Yeah. People just want the knowledge. They want the meat and potatoes.
Totally.
So if people are trying to reach you, where do they go?
Okay, so there's a lot of places that you can find me. You can always find me on Instagram. I spend a lot of my time on Instagram, mostly in terms of social. You can find me at Ana McKenna Official. That is ANAMCKENNA Official. And I have a Facebook page called Anna McKenna's Next Mission. And my website is anna-mckenna.com. And lastly, I have my podcast, which is called Your Next Mission with Ana McKenna. And it is just me and a lot of awesome people who share a lot of really great information on routines and health and wellness and money and VA claim benefits and how do you do all that. And it's for everybody. It's not just for military women, it's for everybody. So I encourage people to go there and check it out.
Yeah, go ahead, check it out. All right. So is there anything you want to say?
I just think that what you're doing is so awesome to provide a platform for all of us to help each other because, out of everybody, I feel like military folks deserve all the support and resources they can get. So I just want to thank you for having me. And I look forward to seeing what else you're doing because you're doing some good stuff.
I appreciate it. And thank you for coming on. All right.
Awesome.
So on this episode, we had Ana McKenna. All right. She's a veteran of the U.S. Army, has owned several brick and mortar businesses. And as a mother, partner, soldier, she helps military women and families clear roadblocks to a healthier, and more successful lifestyle. So thank you, Ana.
Thank you.
All right.